Hello and welcome everyone back to the Captain Crypto video. I hope you guys are doing well, and today we are back with another banger Pulsechain video giving you guys the latest and greatest of news. Starting off with the biggest one here, PWBTC has hit $1,000, and I made a tweet here. Big shout out to everyone who has been a long time believer for this. So here's a tweet that I made. It said PWBC on Pulsechain just reached $1,000 for the first time in 6 months. Reminder that it only has 154,000 in total supply. I'm going to make a separate video talking about this narrative that takes you from zero to hero. And here I said Richard Hart owns 21% of the total supply, which could equal $3.7 billion that he could rotate back into the ecosystem. So, and I called it here the purple Bitcoin Hyperloop theory, where purple is the new orange. Now, in other quick macroeconomic news, before I jump into the latest Richard Hart tweet, which is huge, kind of making Pulsechain less of an uncertainty of an ecosystem or less of a risky chain, like I mentioned in my previous video, because we know there's global marketing coming. We know Richard Hart is rumored to have 1 million Ethereum, aside from the Pulsechain sacrifice funds, by the way. We know that he has even potentially billions in Bitcoin. We covered this in the previous videos, guys. Okay, and there's a theory here that we're going to cover in a second. But before we do so, I just wanted to quickly talk about how quantitative easing is inevitable. We are very close to this. We are just seeing a case of the Federal Reserve being very stubborn, talking about how they want their inflation rates. Their target is 2%. We've been at 2%, okay, for months. Matter of fact, there's times where we actually broke under 2%. And there's fears about recession. Now, I'm not going to lie. I don't think we are going to be in a recession. But it's just the fact that if there is fear mongering, they have to do something. There are some hints, okay, why we might head to recession if there was no quantitative easing, such as, here it mentions it in this article. As we reach the midpoint of the year, recession fears are slowly abating. In May, JP Morgan lowered the probability of a recession occurring in 2025 from 60 to 40%. 40% is still very high. However, it still warned that a period of subpar growth could lie ahead, especially if tariffs remain high. Again, they're using tariffs here as the kind of scapegoat, which I don't really think it is. While the news has calmed some of the fear surrounding the economy, it hasn't eliminated all of it. A survey conducted by Indeed and Harris Poll in June found that 46% of Americans are concerned about layoffs within the next year. Now, speaking about layoffs, I want to take you guys here to the unemployment rate in America. Right now, it is at 4.1%. Okay, now usually a healthy rate is, or kind of like not recession mode, is anything under 5%. We're not anywhere near that, but if you look at the previous kind of trajectory, if you think about the slope or like the rate of growth, we are heading up towards that 5%, and that's kind of scary. Like it literally just means that people have been losing jobs slowly. Um, so again, kind of goes back to the whole thing that I mentioned in my previous video, like the labor market is weakening, needs to be stimulation, which obviously is what this, the balance sheet for the Federal Reserve. This matters, okay? Effectively, the definition of this, I'll just quickly read it here. The central bank balance sheet represents the total assets held by central bank. So again, they can be buying what? Government treasury bonds. And once they do that, it pushes back liquidity into the market. It increases the reserves of those banks. And again, that will trickle down. It will incentivize people to take on credit. So again, incentivizes creditors, and it also incentivizes just lenders in general. Okay, even though, yes, the interest rate will be lowered, it will in favor incentivize people to take up more credit, spend more, invest more, and within that is risk on assets. And we've already covered as well, guys. Double check this, understand this. Okay, these are very important macroeconomics. The Dixie index has been falling down. This is the strength of the dollar. As it goes down, it's inversely proportional with risk on assets. We are in a great time. This is just the beginning. Okay, and this also brings me to the sacrifice funds. And I believe sometime in last week, we actually broke green for the first time ever in a long time. Okay, in a long time, guys. So in terms of price action, where is Bitcoin? Where's Ethereum? Ethereum is actually holding up pretty well. We're seeing the ETH BTC ratio at 0.031. just because of the fact that Bitcoin is having a stronger correction than Ethereum. Matter of fact, Ethereum is up 1.83%. XRP taking the biggest hit with 10%. So it was maybe perhaps overheated. Fear and greed, we're still in greed. The altcoin, we kind of went from 59 index all the way down to 43. This is good because we don't really want to rise too rapidly. But just the fact that we've seen the global liquidity is still rising, we've seen that quantitative easing is technically still not on, guys. Because the fact that they've been selling off, right? This is quantitative tightening, guys. This is one of the longest quantitative tightening we've seen in the past decades as well. And then quantitative easing is if we start seeing this chart heading up, and we're not there yet. So I'm telling you, this is just the beginning of the bull market. And I'll be honest, the bull market technically started when we finally broke all-time high on the global liquidity index, which was when? Like 3 months ago, not in 2023. Okay, which is crazy. In 2023, it marked the end of the bear market. That was when you should have bought Bitcoin at its lowest, when it hit like 19,000, when everyone said, oh yeah, the lowest it will go is 22,000. Everyone said this. But of course, guys, the majority of people are always wrong. The minority of people are rarely right. So you choose which side you want to be on. The best thing to do is to be contrarian. So I'm happy to be in this cult of PulseChain, right? Because you can't spell culture without cult. And at the end of the day, we know, right? Why is meme coins the main meta? Because we're investing in communities. We have the strongest community in all of crypto, guys. Okay? And the fact that I believe in PDAI is the cult within a cult. Okay? It's high risk, but don't get me wrong, this is part of the core 7 that I believe in. Pulse, PulseX, Hex, eHex, INC, PDAI, PWBTC. I believe in all those 7, guys. Let me know. Let me know what you guys think. And what's crazy is that we hit 1,000 PWBTC. We're at half a penny during still low volume days on PulseChain. Look at this. We're just hitting barely above 20 million. And even when you look at the daily active wallets, we're still at that 10,000, 11,000. And we're at those price levels where we're only 60% away from all-time high. You know how crazy that is? We're still not on a centralized exchange. I'm excited, okay? And I just don't want you guys to be shaken off when you have, doubtful days, when you see, okay, why are we correcting this day? Zoom out. Block the noise. Okay, there's always going to be like noisy things and people react by news, right? When you should be having an investor mindset, delaying your gratification, you need to understand that what you're looking in the chart is a perceived value of the general consensus, right? Which is price. But I'm going to tell you now, price is not equal to value. Okay, why am I in PulseChain? It's because it's undervalued. I didn't go in because of the price that it's at. I don't care that, okay, I need INC to be up 100x for me to jump in it. That's not how I'm going to make my biggest gains. Okay, that's how the average retail investor thinks. Okay, how much did it go up in the past month? Okay, did a 2x, did a 100%. Okay, now I want to jump in because I want to ride the wave. No. Position yourself, be early, be somewhere where other people are not there yet. Yeah, I'm super excited. Here's a quick tweet as well that I just wanted to mention. Big shout out to, just in general, PulseChain. PulseX has officially burnt 1% of its total supply, guys. PulseX. Now, technically, if you want to add in the OA, it's more than, if you want to exclude the OA, it would be around 7.47%. But if you include the OA, it's now 1%, which is huge. Okay. And by the way, the OA is like he holds 90%. Who is the OA? Is it Richard Hart? We can't confirm. It could be an AI bot, for all we know. It could be the team behind PulseX developers. It could be a multisig, more than likely multisig. So here's a tweet from Richard Hart. We're gonna end the video. I'm gonna keep it very short because I do need to go somewhere. But I wanted to update you guys and say that PulseChain is actually becoming less risky. Sacrifice funds, and this tweet right here will increase the bullishness. Okay, and with the stuff that Liberty Swap is doing. But actually, before we talk about this, I really quickly want to remind people, okay, just about believing in something. Even the Dogecoin dev himself, Look at this. Dogecoin's original founder is struggling to come to terms with Doge's recent gains. Billy Marcus have revealed that he sold off his Doge stash in 2015 for an amount equivalent to a used Honda Civic, not even new, bro. He sold his whole bag. Imagine the dev didn't even believe enough in his own project. Guys, do not be a trader, become an investor. That's basically the lesson. Here's what Richard says. Great news. I've heard the first container is full of about 200,000 free electronic device donations and should hit the water in a few days. Should arrive in 3 weeks to port. Shout out to the community that makes these amazing things happen. What's your funniest guess at device? And then he said a mini taser. And of course, guys, we know it's a cold wallet effectively. It has PDAI. Well, it's not 100%, but that's my guess, Richard. Stupid PDAI to Dora. I'm going to end the video there, guys. I got to keep it quick. I'll catch you soon. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Comment down. It helps boost this video in the YouTube algorithm. And of course, join the Telegram link in the description. Say hi, ask me questions. Check out my course, link in the description. Use code PDAI to get 100% for free. Okay, educate yourself if you're planning to take crypto seriously, and especially if you have over $1,000 in your crypto portfolio and want to keep it safe. Understand the different attack vectors. These are just 1.5 hour worth of video content, guys. Okay, you don't need to even read anything. Just watch the video. Gets you set up for everything you need to know to at least protect yourself in this cycle. Okay, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I'll catch you soon. Take care.